Emily, let's go to you with an LPL update. Of course, the coronavirus shutting down much activity in China, including the LPL. But what can you tell us about the LPL and some possible online activity?
Yeah, so from a broader perspective, something actually came out today where the National General Administration of the Sports Department has requested that all sports events, which the LPL falls under obviously, but this is broad for any sporting event in China, all activities, anything planned before April 30th is halted now. So as for what that means for the LPL going forward, we will keep you posted because I've reached out to them and we'll try to get you news as soon as possible. However, the Online Scrim League starts and I'm so excited, particularly because Chinese teams already play really fast and loose on stage compared to other regions. And on top of that, historically, and they've gotten better in recent years, but historically they've trolled each other in scrims pretty consistently. So I am very curious to see how this works out. The first match is between E-Star, who people might not remember, but they're at the top of the standings right now, which is a brand new team with a whole bunch of rookies that hadn't even announced their roster until days before the LPL started. And then JD Gaming, who I actually think, had the season continued, they're one of the strongest teams in the LPL. So that's the first matchup. The 5 teams that are going to be competing, as you see up there: E-Star, JD Gaming, Suning, Top Esports, and Victory 5. So we have a good mix of teams from all over the standings. I don't know what this means going forward, but I'm just really excited to see teams start playing again. As for how much you can take from this, I think you should consider the fact that, again, traditionally, Chinese teams already play pretty fast and loose on stage. They have been known for trolling each other in scrims. I would not take these as necessarily gospel, but I really want to see teams, I think the teams themselves as well, everyone wants to see the LPL back in action. And with the travel bans in China, coming from a Western perspective, we always think, oh, we can't fly to China, or people from China can't fly out. But what people might not know is that the majority of the virus is actually concentrated in Wuhan, which is actually where E-Star is, so that is unfortunate. But it's a lot of the travel bans within China, and now this coming out from the National Sports Administration, where they can't have public sports gatherings. So it's about the inability to travel within the country of China, and this is a really good solution until they're able to do something else.
Let me throw out a prediction there, and I'm sure many people watching this right now might be thinking the same thing. Exactly like you said, Emily, no sports gatherings in China until April 30th. The Online Scrim League is starting. Emily, could this be a bridge or a test for the LPL possibly playing online games that count?
I don't want to say one way or the other, but if I'm the LPL, I'm definitely looking at that as potentially my only solution, because April 30th is really late. So if you're assuming that you can even send a team to MSI, if you can get a team physically out of China, then, it's just, I don't even know how they choose a team without having the LPL in session. So although I know they're really talking to the LPL representatives, they've actually been super nice and as communicative as they possibly can be. They're we really don't want to call this the LPL because we don't want this to be a stand-in for the LPL, right? We don't want this to be confused with this is our top competition. But at the same time, if I'm them, I'm looking at, well, I can't have the LPL until April 30th anyway. We might as well get everyone started up on online scrims so at least teams can be practicing, playing each other and trying to improve if we're going to try to send a team to MSI, which again is up in the air because of those travel bans.
Emily, what does this mean for MSI? People in chat are wondering whether MSI is going to be canceled. We don't know where MSI is going to be. Could it be in China? Will Worlds even be in China at this point? But let's focus on MSI right now. What do you think MSI will look like if it in fact happens, and do you think it will happen?
Oof. That's a really rough question. I honestly don't see how a Chinese team can compete without it being held in China, but then I don't see how other teams could compete if that was the case. So there's this massive issue of travel, right? Because in order to keep people safe, in order to keep the virus as contained as possible, one of the easiest ways to do it is to uphold those travel bans. So I think it's going to be really difficult to like putting the competition aspect of it aside, it's going to be really difficult to physically extract a team out of China and fly them somewhere, have them basically be quarantined for a certain amount of days before they can even, go out and leave and do something. So that is going to be really difficult. I have no idea what MSI is going to look like because already we're seeing, certain travel bans and quarantines in a whole bunch of other countries. So I have no idea. But I do know that travel is going to be the issue.
I'm going to make a prediction in terms of MSI, and I don't have any information. As unfortunate as the circumstance is with the coronavirus affecting China, the show must go on. And so that's why I do believe that MSI will go on, and it will happen wherever it might be. And I do believe that we will see a team possibly subbed in place of a Chinese LPL team if they are unable to come here safely. And that's the primary concern, of course. So will it be another team from another region? We don't know that. But I do believe that we will see some sort of tournament that involves multiple regions that MSI traditionally has been. I think that's going to happen.